A few weeks ago, I made a breakdown called Joshua Van has 3 dangerous weapons against Taira, and in it, I showed why Joshua Van had the exact style to give elite flyweights problems: constant pressure, relentless pace, disciplined volume, and against Tatsuro Taira, he followed that blueprint almost perfectly. The original prediction wasn't about one punch power. It wasn't about some lucky moment. It was about a system, a pace designed to drown opponents over time. The game plan centered around 3 things. First, break the rhythm. Joshua Van constantly pressured Tatsuro Taira, leaving him with no time to think or act. Second, touch the body early to tax the gas tank. And third, take away the space. No space means no control. This is where the prediction became reality. Watch how Van resets after every exchange instead of backing out completely. That's crucial. He's never giving Tatsuro Taira a full reset. Every retreat becomes another opportunity to pressure back in. We knew, just as Van did, that he would eventually be taken down regardless. But as long as Tatsuro Taira had to keep working to hold him there, constantly scrambling, controlling positions, and exhausting himself to maintain dominance, there was always the possibility that he would gas out. Taira even admitted in an interview that he needed to finish Joshua Van within 3 rounds, otherwise he risked running out of energy himself. Although the plan was for Joshua Van to target Tatsuro Taira's body early, it became less necessary once Taira reacted heavily to Van's punching power. Van instead focused on headhunting and maintaining constant pressure from the end of round 1 onward, knowing it wouldn't take many clean shots to badly hurt Taira. Van returned to the body in round 5 following instructions from his corner, after Taira found a second win by surviving a difficult 3rd round where Van hurt and dropped him multiple times but couldn't secure the finish. Joshua Van gave up the opening round to Tatsuro Taira as part of the process. From round 2 onward, he took control of the center, using the reads and information from round 1 to walk Taira into counters and keep him trapped against the cage, forcing him onto his back foot. Rather than following, he cut off angles to maintain the pressure and containment. By the 3rd round, you could see the momentum completely shifting. Tatsuro Taira wasn't reacting with the same confidence anymore. The entries became slower, the exits became more desperate, and every time Joshua Van closed distance again, it forced Taira to fight at a pace he never looked comfortable with. That's what made this performance so impressive. Van didn't need one massive moment. He won through accumulation, pressure, and control over the tempo of the fight. He used his jab to read Tatsuro Taira's level changes, slipping Taira's jab while manipulating his positioning and guiding him into follow-up strikes. The jab also kept Taira moving backward, with range management and its timing used to maximum effect. Joshua Van also attempts a submission here and comes close, getting underneath Tatsuro Taira's chin, but fails to properly secure Taira's body. This allows Taira to escape the position. Now, to be clear, this performance wasn't flawless. There are still defensive vulnerabilities during entries, particularly against mid-range counters. And against opponents with elite, championship-level timing, those openings can quickly become costly. This mid-range is where Joshua Van is most vulnerable. He also tends to feel safest when advancing in this range, which can lead to him dropping his hands. And that brings us to the matchup everyone is already thinking about: Alexandre Pantoja. Stylistically, this matchup is fascinating. Van has the pace, power, and striking volume to hurt Pantoja and put him in positions he's not used to being in. But Pantoja has the pace and pressure to force Van into a grueling fight and make him work harder than he wants to. Pantoja's biggest advantage, though, is his experience in chaos. He thrives in ugly brawls, transitions, scrambles, and constant momentum swings. Joshua Van slips Tatsuro Taira's jab and counters with an overhand right, making enough contact to push Taira into the straight left that follows. Taira attempts a knee with both hands on Van's neck, but without securing the clinch, allowing Van to punch through and land another clean right while building forward pressure. Van also began reading Taira's timing better here, confidently jabbing him even during level changes for takedown attempts. By cutting off the octagon effectively, he prevented Taira from creating space and settling into his work. Alexandre Pantoja establishes control of the mid-range immediately, often using an early kick to set the tone and force opponents onto the back foot from the very start. He then builds off their reactions, either throwing more kicks or extending combinations depending on the distance they create while retreating. Alexandre Pantoja also uses his pressure-heavy style to set up takedowns. Once opponents are forced back to the fence, he mixes in level changes. He has effective trips in the pocket and understands the importance of attacking the legs in grappling exchanges, often looking to take the back and either secure a quick finish or maintain control until an opening presents itself. He is also highly active off his back. Constant threatening strikes or submission attempts, keeping opponents on edge. Joshua Van is constantly reading his opponents to stay ahead. Tatsuro Taira fakes a jab, extending his arm to touch Van's face before dipping low for a takedown, but Van responds with his jab and quickly backs to the fence for cover. There, he secures an underhook, an adjustment from round 1, and turns Taira off him. Taira attempts a back take during the turn, but Van defends by turning out of position and staying ahead in the exchange. Van also uses his striking in open space as a layer of defense, keeping opponents on edge and making him harder to grapple, especially from further ranges. For Van to win that fight, the bodywork becomes even more important. You can't let Pantoja pressure freely for 25 minutes. Van would need disciplined footwork, layered volume, and elite takedown defense over time. Anti-wrestling footwork, turning into Alexandre Pantoja and constantly fighting him at angles. Joshua Van will need to target Pantoja's body more often, walking him into body shots as he crashes forward and landing them in the pocket. Taking the center will be the toughest task for Van, as Pantoja is his most durable opponent and has never been finished in the UFC. What makes this rematch even more intriguing is how young Joshua Van still is. Fighters with his style tend to improve rapidly as their timing and decision-making sharpen with experience. The version we see next year could already be significantly more dangerous. Meanwhile, Pantoja, at 36, is nearing the later stages of his career and is coming off an elbow injury. This fight will give us a clearer picture of how much he still has left and how elite he can truly be at this stage of his career. The blueprint worked, the pressure worked, the engine was real. Now the question is whether Joshua Van can evolve that style into a championship-level weapon. Because if he can, the flyweight division is going to have a serious problem. If you enjoyed the breakdown, subscribe for more fight analysis and let me know who you want covered next.